Like a child, wanna light up the night big star. Like a child, crying is his ray. Louder is thankful even for the moment. God never misses attention. Like a child, saw the sunlight arrange in the rainbow. Lucid dream is a legend of words. Like a child, trying to entertain ourselves. Like a child.
This girl to behave as a mature woman. So these are two conflicting thoughts at the same time. Because an underage child will not know what an adult wants unless she has been told. But you find that maybe this man is violent. He just wants everything done. And therefore, when he moves out in the morning, when he comes back in the evening, there's lots of fighting and all that. The girl is abused, the way she's stupid, she cannot do what. But it was just that her time was not yet, had not yet come to get married. So she's not very much aware of household duties. It's just like giving birth to a having a premature birth. So that child was not yet ready, but circumstances forced it, right? If you cook food and do not cook it very well to the fullest, even when eating it, maybe there's something that is lacking inside that food. We say that food must be cooked well from step one to the last step to avoid maybe disease and all that. So even with the marriage, somebody getting in a marriage should be ready for those house chores there and be ready to be corrected. There are children whom when you correct, they think that you are being too harsh to them, and maybe that's the mentality she has gone with in that house, willingly or forced. That house needs to be in order. Even if the girl has gone there willingly or forced, that man there requires peace, that girl there requires peace, but they are not thinking the same thing. So we have increased domestic violence. You find that a girl is being beaten. She goes back home with wounds everywhere and all that, just because they are of two different worlds, thinking different things and all that. Then you can talk of deaths due to pregnancy and childbirth. You know that childbirth, when you're giving birth as a woman, there are instances where you can just give birth smoothly without any complication. But there are those that will require you to maybe seek attention. Maybe there are complications. The baby came in a wrong way, or maybe the cervix is too small. It was not ready for delivery. So you find that there are those complications that may lead to the death of the mother or even the death of the inborn. Yeah. And then you have poor child care due to lack of child basics. The poor child care, yes, you are married, you have your husband there, maybe you are at least of the same age, 18 and 20. So this boy here is not yet employed. You as an underage girl, you do not have anything to do. So this boy is the one you are depending on to bring the daily bread. But he is also a hustler. So whatever he brings at night, at home, is very little. It does not even fulfill the two of you. What about now this child that is coming? So the basics, maybe you find pampers, there are no towels,
the jellies for the kids,
those ones. So they are not at present. So you find yourself that this child, even if they are blessed to have that child, the child is going to live under very difficult conditions. Then we have uh, continued intergenerational cycles of poverty. And this one has happened in the society. That your great grandfather was poor, your grandfather was poor, your father was poor, you are poor, you are marrying a poor girl. So that child will still be in a poor family, and he or she will lack basic education. That's to mean he or she will end up being poor. And her generation also, maybe her child also, his or her child also at a certain age gets pregnant, gets married at the same age, at the same level, with nothing to show. And now we have that generational poverty cycle. So it just goes round. It just goes round. So poverty knows you by your name and all that. Yeah. I think that one is some of the causes of that yeah, the effects of early marriage.
Okay, our next question. There exist early marriages and forced marriages. Do you think there is any difference between the two?
All right. I remember mentioning early and forced at the beginning. So that the difference between, if there is any difference between forced marriage and early marriage. So how do you define early marriage? You say that union between two who are below the age of 18. That's according to the Kenyan Constitution. And how can we define a forced marriage? A forced marriage is where you are unwillingly. This one is not, you are not going. It's unwilling. You are unwillingly sent to somewhere. Like if you say, I don't want to go to the market, and then you are told you must go. So you have been forced to go. Yet it was not part of your plan. So forced marriage here is a girl, and this one mostly affects the girls. A girl is forced to marry a certain old person whom she's not interested in. So it's out of her will to go there. Then, is there any difference? To some extent there is, but then there is no. Because with early marriage, you can go there willingly. We have this generation, we have children who are not, who do not hear the advice. So they decide to get married at their, because they have just decided to go. They think that they are now mature enough to go, and they go. Even if you advise them, they cannot listen to you. That is willing underage marriage. She goes. And we have that early child marriage, whereby a boy has impregnated a girl underage. And then now it's said, no, now take your wife, and do it with her. So that one is, you have been given. What about forced marriage? Forced marriage is you are being sent out of the house by your family or your relatives to just go get married because of money. Maybe money has been promised. But ways, do we have any difference? Again, no. Why? If someone denies your right as an adult, that person has took you down to that level of a child, meaning that you cannot make any decision before us. So just do as we say. If it's doing as we say, then go and marry that old man. And then, because you decided to disobey your parents, go and live with that boy. That's a child who got pregnant and is being pushed out of the house just to preserve the family's name. And then this is an adult who has been made, whose a decision has been made on her behalf. You are our child, yes, but you cannot say anything here. Just go and marry that old man. So there is a difference, but also there is no difference. It depends with how the context. You will explain that.
The following question is that the issue of early marriage can be ordered up to 100%. think hinders the whole process? Consequently, who do you think is responsible to help those to stop the early marriage?
Okay, so what hinders the whole process of curbing early marriages? I think that was the question. So the hindrances here, they are varied because we're having the society itself. You see? So we have societal ignorance. The society just decide to ignore. Like there's a certain community in this country that believes that we all read. I think you read the Blossoms of the Savannah.
Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah.
Tayo, and Rishan,
Yeah.
who was forced to. I think both of them they had their marriages arranged. They had their marriages arranged, and therefore, one of them ran away, another one was kidnapped, and she went like that. So the society just decides to ignore the fact that a child has got a right to make a decision who to marry, when to marry, and where. So that's societal ignorance. Then you also have the weak government policies. Yes, we have policies governing or guiding maybe the girl child, but they have not been reinforced to the fullest. So you find that people just do things knowing very well that even if the government comes here, we shall just give them something and it's done. Then when it comes to the issue of who is responsible to help curb this issue, we go back again. The society itself. If you are my neighbor, and then you see me selling away my 15-year-old girl, why don't you report? You see, but most people say that no, that's none of my business. That is his house, so let him do as he, even if he wish to cook his children, let him cook them. But if we become responsible and decide to report those matters to the government, then we work out. Again, the government itself should respond to those rising issues. If a report is brought to the office that this has happened in this place, so the government should be able to pick up from there very fast and act before things gets to worse. Yes.
To conclude, what measures do you think should be put in place or reinforced to ensure that the whole issue of early marriages is curbed?
So measures that should be set in place to make sure that early marriage is curbed. First of all, we need to eliminate what we call illiteracy among community members. You know, illiteracy has been defined bogusly. People define illiteracy as a state of not going to school. But no, it's not like that. Illiteracy here means maybe you have an understanding of something, but you ignore it. So you are using your understanding, but very poorly. We have very many prominent people in this country, but whose understanding is gauged as that one of a child. Because you just meet somebody shouting at a child over nothing. That person is using his or her high blood pressure on this child. So why should we shout for a child who does not even understand his or her name? So we eliminate illiteracy amongst community members. How? By maybe providing a basic education to them, giving them the importance of a child going to school. If you educate a child, that's an investment made, and you shall reap finally because you have sowed a seed. Then we have number 2, enhance guidance and counseling amongst who? The youth themselves. So seminars can just be organized, and then concepts. Maybe they bring a resource person to talk to the youths, to give them the importance of, maybe to tell them the importance of focusing themselves, because there are people who are just there focusing maybe you plan for your future, keeping yourself busy throughout the day. You know, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if the youths are engaged, they become busy. They'll have no time to roam around. And then as you roam around, remember, temptation shall always come. Yes, temptation is there just waiting for you to devour. So such seminars for guidance and counseling will help greatly. Then I want to maybe just add something small. And this is just an advice to the youths. That if I may ask a question, what do you do with a salary of 15,000 monthly and you are married and you are not in your own house, you are in someone's house? That means you are paying rent. And then, as you know, the economic condition of the country right currently, everything requires money. In the cities, you are living in the city for a salary of 15,000. You have a wife with 2 children. You are paying rent. You are paying bills, water bills, electricity bills. We know that even the, how do you call them? The trash, they collect them, but they are paid for. So like you are paying for basically everything. And then you go into that system, say that I want to marry with 15,000 salary. You are paying a house rent of maybe 5,000. Food budget 5,000. How much is remaining? Out of 15? 5,000. Have you catered for the bills? No, you just bought food, the basics of the child, no. So sometimes let us just try to reason like this. Why don't you just wait for a appropriate time to come? Okay, the issue of relationships, that one, we don't know if it can end, but at least let us control the urges that we have as the youths here. Because sometimes we enter into something we know that literally it's us ourselves that are going to suffer. We take someone's daughter to the house, then she sleeps hungry for 2 days. Are you fasting? Are you Mackenzie? Alright, so I think up to that point, that's what I have to say. Back to you.
Thank you for that. For this message that you have given us about the early marriage, that you have been ignorant about it. So this marks the end of our lesson. Thank you.
Like a child, wanna light up the night big star. Like a child, crying is his ray. Louder is thankful even for the moment. God never misses attention. Like a child, saw the sound